Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. Today we're talking about the office sector. Now we're going to talk about some important technology. If you own, manage, develop, or lease office space, you want to know about this. Please welcome my guest, Doug Lodder. He is VP with Boingo. Doug, and is joining us on Skype. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, talk to us about technology inside these buildings. I know one of the things that I look at when I'm tenant repping an office tenant, and we're looking at buildings, and we're headquartered in Atlanta, and we go in these buildings, it's real important to us that, you know, when you go in the parking lot and we go up the elevator and then we're in the space, that the phone works. And if you get dropped in these areas, it can really cut down on the connectivity of your people, right?
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. There's, in the world of commercial real estate, especially in the office category, the tenant reps are becoming incredibly educated about technology and its importance for driving a good experience for their tenants and within their businesses. Several trends are driving this. First and foremost is just that mobile data consumption, whether it's over Wi-Fi or cellular or any technology, is increasing at an incredible clip. Cisco puts out an annual report of just how quickly it's happening, and they expect connectivity, mobile data consumption to increase 8-fold over the next 5 years. So it's incredible. And so that's trend number one. Trend number two is, the clever and creative ways that office space is being designed now. So the interior spaces are more open, closer quarters, more people per square foot. And when you put more people in a building, there's going to be more data consumed, coupled with the trend of more data being consumed per person. So it kind of just amplifies or exponentially grows the amount of consumption that's taking place inside these buildings. And then third and final is the way the buildings are being built. There's a lot of push to drive expenses down, to improve insulation, put more efficient glass. And while those technologies, those techniques keep heat in, they keep signal from the outside out. And so you have this kind of groundswell of, okay, if the signals aren't getting in from outside, if the technology is unable to serve what we need from the outside, we're putting more people inside. The people that we're putting inside are consuming more. Then therefore you have just this need to bring a lot of that technology in. And as building automation, Internet of Things, heating automation, all those things kind of come to life inside these buildings. And as more real estate owners try and differentiate by providing a unique experience for potential tenants, we've just seen this massive groundswell of people coming in to try and solve this problem.
Right, and it makes sense, and it can be a challenge because we've had some office tenants that we represent, and we say, well, let's talk about running our phone lines and having your phone plugins. No, we don't need that. All our people are going to use their cell phones.
That's right, and what you used to see is companies having phone plans and desk phones, as you said, and they'd pick a carrier for you, and you'd go out and they'd issue you your Nextel push-to-talk phone, and you were happy as a client to get a free phone out of it. Fast forward to today, and most workers just don't accept that. They want to have a family plan. They want to share it with their wife and their kids, or their husband and kids, and they really want to choose. They want to choose their device. They want to choose their carrier. They want to choose their payment plan. And businesses have had to adapt. And so just having great service or having a good wired connection for one carrier or with Wi-Fi that was exclusively for the company's devices and hardware just doesn't work anymore. And so more people are coming in with open platforms that allow for choice, and that's caused even greater consumption and even greater need.
Right. So if you own an office building, you're developing one, you're managing one, know that tenant reps like me, when we come in and show the building, that we're using our cell phone and we're checking it in the parking lot, we're checking it in the elevator and in the space, because these companies now are mobile. Everyone's mobile. And if you're on the phone with a customer or a client, you want to go from the car to the parking lot, up the elevator, into the space. You want the phone to work. So Doug, what is the solution?
So the solution is to bring the solution inside the building. So historically, penetration into buildings came from outside. There'd be a cell tower down the street that was servicing the entire neighborhood or the entire office complex, or even antennas on the roof that were intended to provide service not only for the building which they're on, but also the surrounding buildings. And frankly, that's just not enough anymore. And so what a lot of sophisticated building owners have started to do is bring the solution inside, bringing the antennas inside. You can place them indoors just as you would a Wi-Fi network, Bluetooth, anything, any sensor driven network that you want to install can be brought inside. It can look as inconspicuous as HVAC or sprinklers. And really, it's leveraging a lot of the same infrastructure that already exists, a lot of the same risers, conduits, et cetera. But really, it amplifies the signal and brings it inside. And so that's really what distributed antenna systems, or DAS, do. There's also newer technologies right behind DAS, small cells that are kind of more tuned for smaller buildings. But basically, all it does is it takes the carrier radios, brings them inside your building, and rebroadcasts them throughout.
Okay, so what would be a typical cost? Let's say I have an existing building and it's a 60,000 square foot building. I'm hearing from tenants and tenant reps that this is a challenge. And what would be a typical cost and procedure and time frame to set up a system like this?
So the cost can vary greatly. Larger buildings have greater scale, so the cost tends to come down on a square foot basis, whereas smaller buildings, you have less scale, so it tends to be higher on a square foot basis. A good range, depending on how bulletproof you want the system to be, is somewhere between $1 and $4 a square foot, which I understand is a big range, but taking the scale into account, that's generally a good rule of thumb, whereas smaller buildings will be closer to the high end and larger buildings closer to the low end.
Okay, and you guys have been doing this for some pretty significant properties, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've been doing this. We believe that we built the first indoor distributed antenna system in the U.S. back in 1999. We built the first DAS at a major airport at JFK in 2001. We cover about 60% of North American air traffic through our networks, and those networks are both cellular networks as well as Wi-Fi networks. We also do kind of beacon technology, Bluetooth, and we also cover, so in the airport space, JFK, O'Hare, LaGuardia, Newark, small airports like St. Louis and Milwaukee, Phoenix. We're nationwide, and most people have experienced our service through traveling through those airports, because when you use the Wi-Fi, you tend to see that it's Boingo Wi-Fi. And outside of the airport space, we're in stadiums, arenas, hotels, cafes, malls, convention centers, office buildings, where it's a little less apparent that it's Boingo, but we're also providing those services as well.
You're right. And I'm an Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta Hawks fan, so when I'm at the Hawks game, I want to be able to take pictures and videos. I want to use my phone to send them around. So you guys are making that possible at the Hawks arena, right?
Yeah, so Phillips Arena has done a really good job of leveraging technology to draw the fans in, create a very unique experience. It's, as Steve Koonin, the CEO of the Hawks, likes to say, when you think of Phillips Arena, really think of Town Hall of Atlanta. There's over 250 events a year there. It's more than just basketball, it's concerts, and they've really got to build a platform that's suitable for everyone. And when people get to Phillips Arena, they want to connect. They want to connect with their network. The Hawks want to connect with their fans. And the network really enables a lot of that. So whatever their digital strategy is, whatever the technology that they're trying to implement or roll out, it almost always, and this is true in office space as well, it's almost always going to need a really robust network to enable. And so that's how we view ourselves, is we build platforms that enable all of our customers to do the digital things that they want to do.
Right, and it's so imperative today. So leave us with a tip. So if I own or manage a facilities like an office building, what's a tip for us?
So I'll give you a tipping point instead of a tip.
Okay.
So the tipping point has really started to happen. So we've been working in the commercial real estate office space for about 3 to 4 years. We've actually been involved for longer than that, but not at not the scale that we are today. And 3 to 4 years ago, the conversation was more classic real estate. It was building owners wanting money. It was building owners wanting to get paid for access to their building. And they didn't see it as so much a benefit for their existing tenants, but more as an opportunity to generate more revenue from the building. And what we've seen over the past, I'd say, 6 to 12 months is building owners realizing that connectivity is a utility. It is not, it shouldn't be viewed as a mechanism for generating incremental rent or incremental NOI. It's really got to be looked at as a service that you have to provide. And we're really in this unique window where so few buildings have taken advantage of these services that you can create a differentiated product by deploying a system, positioning your building as Class A versus Class B because you have better technology, attracting better tenants. And so I would say the tip is, don't look at this as an expense. Don't look at this as a revenue opportunity. Look at this as a way to invest incrementally in your building that will generate you the returns consistent with the other investments you make in your building, whether it's landscaping, cleaner windows. All those investments are made because there's a belief by the owner that they can generate incremental NOI. And I would argue that wireless is one of those tools. As you said with your tenant reps, you can make or lose a tenant based on how technologically advanced your building is.
That's right. And the tenants viewing the space, they might be using some technology that we use when we're showing them the space to actually report on it and interact with us about the different spaces we're showing them. So they're going to be using technology even when they're showing the space. I love it. It's a utility. It's not an add-on anymore. So, Doug, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
If you'd like to get more from Doug, visit their website. It's boingo.com, right? Boingo.com. And thanks for joining us on the radio stations, on iTunes, on YouTube, on Commercial Real Estate Show. Be sure to connect with us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. And until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out CREshow.com.